What if I told you this entire situation is not heading towards a full scale war, but towards something much more controlled and much more strategic? Mm, right now, the world is watching what looks like a dangerous escalations. US warship moving through the Strait of Hormuz, Iran issuing warnings, contradictory claims about whether ships crossed or turned back, and at the same time, peace talks happening in Islamabad. At first glance, this looks chaotic, unpredictable, on the edge of the war. But when you step back, a pattern begins to emerge. Welcome to the World Workstation, where we don't just follow the events, we decode the systems behind them. Let's begin the video. Let's start with the reality on the ground. At first, the first phase of US Iran talks lasted over 5 hours, not symbolic, not casual. Um, it's very structured. Mm, More importantly, they moved beyond verbal discussions, mm, like written exchanges, proposals, uh, counter proposals. This is not how countries behave. When they are preparing for immediate war, uh, this is how countries behave when they are in negotiating under pressure. Now, look at the military side. Iran issues a 30 minutes warning to US naval vessels. The United States responds by asserting a freedom of navigation, and then conflicting narratives appear. Iran says that the ship turned back. The US says it crossed safely. See who is telling the truth. In geopolitics, that's the wrong question because both statements can serve a purpose. Iran's message is we control this region. America's message is we are not in the intimidated. Neither sides neither side wants to appear weak, and that tells you something is critical. This is not escalation towards the war, this is controlled signaling. Now let's talk about the real battlefield, the Strait of Hormuz. This is not just a waterway, it is one of the most important economic arteries in the world, as a massive portion of global oil passes through its narrow route. If it is disrupted, the global economy reacts immediately. Prices rise, markets panic, and supply chains tighten. This is where Iran holds the strongest leverage. Now, not through the uh, a direct military dominance, but through controlled disruption. Now, here is where the situation becomes even more complex. Has Iran has reportedly laid out its demands: control over the Strait, transit authority, release of frozen assets, sanctions relief, and regional conditions like ceasefire in Lebanon. These are not small demands, these are structural demands, which means this is not a negotiation, this is a power reset attempt. Now, let's bring in the hidden risk, the minefield situation. Reports suggests Iran may not have full control over mines deployed in the Strait, uh, which creates a dangerous paradox. Uh, this strait is technically open but functionally unstable, and this changes everything. because even one miscalculation, one accidental detonation, one misinterpreted move could trigger a chain reaction. Now let's move about to the bigger picture. Why is Pakistan involved? Because a neutral ground matters, because back channel diplomacy matters, and because both sides need a space where they can negotiate without losing face publicly. This is not random, this is strategic decision. Now let's talk about the power alignment. Mm, the United States is applying pressure, military movement, economic pressure, strategic messaging. Iran is responding with the resistance and leverage through geography, narrative of strength, regional position. But neither side is crossing the line, and that tells you everything. And now here is my position: this will not end in a full scale war, and it will not end in complete peace. It will end in controlled negotiation, because a full war is too costly for the United States. It risks global economic disruption. For Iran, it risks regime survival, and for the world, it risks energy collapse. So, what is most likely outcome? A structured deal, not a perfect agreement, but a compromise. Iran gets partial economic relief. The United States gets strategic compliance, and the Strait of Hormuz remains open, but under the increased monitoring tension. This is what modern conflict looks like: not total destruction, not but controlled pressure. Now let's bring this to you. What does this mean in real life? Fuel prices remain unstable, supply chains remain sensitive, and inflation pressure continues, because even without war, uncertainty itself has a cost, and that cost is already being paid. Mm, and now the final question: do you think this is situation is moving toward a war, or is it being carefully controlled behind the scenes? Comment your view below. And if you want to understand global events at a deeper level, subscribe to the World Workstation, because here we don't just report what is happening, we are we explain why it is happening. Thanks for watching.